Welcome back to B&B Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the intense drama unfolding in the world of the bold and the beautiful that has fans on the edge of their seats. Will Spencer finds himself in an extremely awkward situation as Luna Nozawa continues her relentless pursuit. Despite being on what should have been a pleasant evening with Electra Forrester at Il Giardino, Will can't seem to escape Luna's inappropriate advances. The young Spencer heir remains steadfast in his conviction that Luna belongs behind bars for her crimes, making her persistent romantic overtures all the more disturbing. "I don't understand what game she's playing," Will confided to a close friend after the uncomfortable encounter. "One minute she's confessing to murder, the next she's trying to seduce me while I'm clearly on a date with someone else." The situation raises numerous questions about Luna's mental state and true intentions. Is this a calculated move to manipulate Will? Perhaps she believes forming a connection with the Spencer family could provide additional protection from legal consequences. Or is this behavior indicative of deeper psychological issues that have yet to be addressed? Bill Spencer's questionable judgment. Bill Spencer's decision to champion Luna's rehabilitation has raised eyebrows throughout Los Angeles. The business mogul has always been known for his cutthroat tactics and questionable moral compass, but his support of a confessed murderer has shocked even his closest allies. "Bill has made some controversial decisions in the past, but this one takes the cake," remarked one longtime associate. "Supporting someone with Luna's history puts his own family at risk." This misguided attempt at playing hero could have serious repercussions for the Spencer family. Bill's judgment appears increasingly compromised, potentially setting the stage for a devastating family conflict if Luna's behavior escalates further. His son Will clearly disagrees with his father's assessment of Luna's character, creating a rift that may prove difficult to repair. Luna's mysterious motivations. Luna Nozawa's behavior continues to baffle those around her. After the shocking revelation that Sheila Carter Sharp is her grandmother, Luna seems to be operating with a newfound boldness. Her criminal history, which includes the murders of Tom Starr and Paul Hollis Hollister, hasn't dampened her audacity in the slightest. What drives a woman with such a dark past to pursue romantic connections so aggressively? Psychological experts might suggest this represents a desperate attempt to create normal human connections despite her inability to process emotions in typical ways. Others might view it as a calculated strategy to secure protection through romantic entanglements with influential families. Whatever her true motivations, Luna's fixation on Will Spencer, while he's clearly involved with Electra Forrester, demonstrates a troubling disregard for boundaries and social norms. The Sheila-Luna connection. The revelation of Sheila Carter Sharp and Luna Nozawa's familial connection has created a powerful new alliance in Los Angeles. Their grandmother-granddaughter relationship has blossomed with remarkable speed, with Sheila embracing Luna despite her murderous past, or perhaps because of it. "Sheila sees herself in Luna," explained a source close to the family. "That shared darkness creates a bond that's difficult for others to understand." This newfound connection has given Sheila something she's desperately wanted for years: family who accepts her completely. After years of rejection from her son Finn and others, Sheila finally has someone who doesn't judge her for her past misdeeds. This unconditional acceptance is a powerful draw for someone with Sheila's history of abandonment and rejection. Deacon's moral dilemma. Deacon Sharp finds himself in an unexpected moral quandary. Despite his own criminal past, Luna's murderous history crosses a line he's unwilling to accept. When he discovers that Luna is actually Finn's daughter, his shock quickly turns to horror. "I've done some things I'm not proud of," Deacon confessed to a regular at Il Giardino, "but I never took a life. There are lines even I won't cross." As the owner of Il Giardino, Deacon has worked hard to rebuild his reputation and create a legitimate business. Having a known murderer frequenting his establishment threatens everything he's built. His stance puts him directly at odds with Sheila, creating an impossible situation for their relationship. Sheila's impossible choice. Sheila Carter Sharp now faces what may be the most difficult decision of her tumultuous life. Forced to choose between her newfound granddaughter and her relationship with Deacon, Sheila finds herself torn between two powerful desires: family connection and romantic love. Throughout her life, Sheila has prioritized family above all else, often with disastrous results. Her obsessive need to be part of her children's lives has led to countless schemes, betrayals, and even violence. This pattern suggests that despite her genuine feelings for Deacon, blood ties may ultimately prove stronger. "Family is everything to me," Sheila once declared during a particularly vulnerable moment. "I would sacrifice anything, even my own happiness, for my children and grandchildren." Predicting the fallout. As this drama unfolds, the potential consequences grow increasingly concerning. If Sheila chooses Luna over Deacon, as seems likely given her history, she may find herself entangled in Luna's dangerous web. Sheila's declaration that she would do anything for family could be tested in ways even she never anticipated. The most troubling possibility is that Luna might continue her violent tendencies, potentially drawing Sheila into criminal activity once again. Sheila's protective instincts toward her granddaughter could lead her to cover up future crimes or even take the blame herself. Meanwhile, Will Spencer must navigate Luna's unwanted advances while maintaining his relationship with Elektra Forrester. This triangle could easily explode into a much larger conflict, involving both the Spencer and Forrester families. The stage is set for what promises to be one of the most dramatic chapters in the Bold and the Beautiful's storied history. As these complex relationships continue to evolve and intertwine, viewers can expect shocking revelations, heartbreaking betrayals, and perhaps even more violence in the coming weeks. Next, we will learn about the explosive confrontations and dangerous tensions building in the Bold and the Beautiful that could change everything for our favorite characters. Luna's sinister side, a ticking time bomb. The shadows of Luna Nozawa's past continue to loom large over Los Angeles, casting a pall of uncertainty and fear among those who know her true nature. Despite her seemingly innocent exterior and claims of rehabilitation, those closest to the situation remain justifiably wary. Psychological experts familiar with similar cases suggest that individuals with Luna's history rarely experience complete personality transformations, particularly when the underlying trauma and mental health issues remain unaddressed. What we're seeing with Luna is classic predatory behavior masked by vulnerability, explains Dr. Marissa Winters, a fictional criminal psychologist who has studied similar cases. The calculated way she's inserting herself into powerful families while maintaining an air of innocence is textbook manipulation. The coming weeks promise to reveal more layers of Luna's complex psyche. Will she maintain her facade of reformation, or will the pressure of rejection and confrontation cause her carefully constructed mask to slip? Sources close to production hint that viewers should prepare for shocking revelations about Luna's true intentions that could make her previous crimes seem tame by comparison. Her calculated targeting of Will Spencer appears to be just one move in a larger, more sinister game. The question remains, what is Luna's ultimate endgame, and who will be caught in the crossfire when her true nature inevitably resurfaces? Elektra versus Luna, a dangerous confrontation. The tension between Elektra Forrester and Luna Nozawa has been building like a pressure cooker, and this week it finally boils over in a physical confrontation that could have far-reaching consequences. The weekly preview video captures a moment of raw emotion as Elektra, her patience finally exhausted, confronts Luna with unmistakable fury. "I am warning you to never come near Will or me again," Elektra declares with fire in her eyes before delivering a forceful shove that sends Luna stumbling backward. The physical altercation marks a significant escalation in their rivalry, transforming what began as subtle competition into open warfare. What Elektra doesn't realize is the dangerous game she's playing. Luna's response, a cold, calculating glare that speaks volumes about her capacity for vengeance, should send chills down Elektra's spine. Those familiar with Luna's history know that her victims often underestimated her until it was too late. Elektra comes from a world of fashion and business rivalries, notes a source close to the Forrester family. She has no concept of the darkness she's provoking. This isn't about stealing a design or poaching a client. Luna has literally taken lives. The confrontation takes place in the elegant corridor outside Il Giardino's private dining room, with witnesses reporting that several patrons overheard the heated exchange. How this public display affects both women's standing in Los Angeles society remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, Luna will not forget this humiliation. Liam's righteous fury toward Bill. The Spencer family dynamics reach a breaking point this week as Liam Spencer confronts his father with unrestrained anger over Bill's inexplicable decision to secure Luna's freedom. The confrontation, which takes place in Bill's luxurious office at Spencer Publications, quickly escalates from discussion to shouting match. "What were you thinking?" Liam demands, pacing the room like a caged animal. "You've unleashed a literal murderer back into society, into our lives." Bill's characteristic arrogance appears momentarily shaken by his son's vehemence. Sources within Spencer Publications report that the argument could be heard through the supposedly soundproof walls of Bill's office, with several employees witnessing Liam storming out afterward. This confrontation represents more than just disagreement over Luna. It symbolizes a fundamental clash of values between father and son. Liam has always positioned himself as the moral compass of the Spencer family, often at odds with Bill's more pragmatic and sometimes ruthless approach to life. This latest disagreement, however, cuts deeper than their usual ethical debates. Liam sees this as Bill directly endangering their family, explains a longtime Spencer family friend. It's not just a questionable business decision or a moral gray area, it's bringing a known killer into their orbit. The fallout from this confrontation could permanently alter the Spencer family dynamic, with rumors suggesting Liam might even consider legal action to protect his children from potential exposure to Luna. Finn's impossible position. Dr. John Finn Finnegan finds himself walking an increasingly precarious tightrope between his wife's justified concerns and his newfound daughter's need for connection. The guilt he carries for his absence during Luna's formative years weighs heavily on his conscience, creating a vulnerability that could potentially fracture his otherwise solid marriage. "Nothing matters more to me than you and our children," Finn assures Steffi in their Cliff House living room, the Pacific Ocean creating a dramatic backdrop through the floor-to-ceiling windows. His words ring with sincerity, yet the conflict in his eyes betrays his inner turmoil. As a physician, Finn has dedicated his life to healing and second chances. This professional ethos now collides with his personal life as he struggles to reconcile Luna's violent past with his paternal instincts. Medical colleagues have noticed Finn's distraction during hospital rounds, with one nurse reporting that he spent nearly 20 minutes staring at a family photo in his office after a particularly difficult conversation with Steffi. "Finn's in an impossible situation," observes Dr. Taylor Hayes, Steffi's mother and a respected psychiatrist. His instinct to protect his family conflicts directly with his desire to help his daughter. Both impulses come from a place of love, which makes the situation all the more heartbreaking. The psychological toll of this conflict manifests physically as well, with Finn experiencing insomnia and loss of appetite, according to sources close to the family. How long can he maintain this delicate balancing act before something or someone breaks? Steffi's maternal protective instinct. The Cliff House, perched majestically above the crashing waves of the Pacific, has always represented safety and security for Steffi Forrester. Now that sanctuary feels threatened by Luna's presence in their lives. Steffi's protective maternal instincts have kicked into overdrive, transforming the usually composed businesswoman into a fierce lioness defending her cubs. "Luna cannot be anywhere near our children," Steffi declares emphatically, her voice echoing through the modernist architecture of their beachfront home. "I won't negotiate on this, Finn. Not now, not ever." The intensity of Steffi's reaction stems not just from Luna's criminal history, but from her own traumatic past. Having survived numerous threats and attacks over the years, Steffi possesses a finely tuned sense for danger that others might dismiss as paranoia. In this case, however, her concerns are grounded in undeniable facts about Luna's violent tendencies. Forrester Creations employees have noticed Steffi's increased security measures, including additional bodyguards accompanying Hayes and Kelly to school and extracurricular activities. She's also been observed conducting background checks on new household staff and installing advanced security systems at both their home and the Forrester offices. "Steffi's not taking any chances," reveals a longtime family friend. "She's seen too much violence in her life to ignore the warning signs with Luna." This protective stance places additional strain on her marriage to Finn, creating a tension that manifests in subtle ways: separate bedtimes, brief conversations limited to logistics, and a noticeable absence of the affectionate touches that once characterized their relationship. Bill's controversial decision. Bill Spencer's decision to leverage his considerable influence to secure Luna's pardon represents one of the most controversial moves in his colorful history. The billionaire mogul, never one to shy away from bold actions, appears to have miscalculated the widespread backlash his intervention would generate. "Bill genuinely believes in redemption," explains Justin Barber, Bill's longtime legal advisor. "He sees something in Luna that reminds him of his own journey from outcast to respected businessman." This perspective, however, fails to account for the severity of Luna's crimes or the potential danger her freedom poses to the community. The Los Angeles legal community has been abuzz with speculation about what strings Bill pulled to secure such an unusual pardon, with rumors suggesting everything from financial incentives to blackmail of key officials. The decision has created ripples throughout Bill's personal and professional life. Spencer Publications' stock dropped 3 points following public knowledge of his involvement in Luna's release, and several high-profile clients have quietly distanced themselves from his business ventures. More significantly, Bill's relationship with his sons has suffered severe damage. While Will maintains a cautious neutrality, Liam's outright hostility represents a new low in their often tumultuous father-son dynamic. Even Katie Logan, who has witnessed Bill's questionable decisions for years, reportedly expressed shock at this particular choice. This isn't just about Luna, a source close to the Spencer family reveals. It's about Bill's pattern of playing God with other people's lives. This time, the consequences could be deadly. The Electra-Will-Luna triangle. What began as a promising romance between Will Spencer and Electra Forrester has evolved into a dangerous triangle with Luna's persistent interference. The young couple, who initially bonded over their shared experiences growing up in powerful Los Angeles dynasties, now find their relationship tested by Luna's calculated intrusions. Will and Electra represent everything Luna wants but can't have, observes a social psychologist familiar with high-profile relationships. They have family acceptance, social standing, and genuine connection, all things Luna has been denied due to her own actions. Luna's pursuit of Will appears particularly calculated, often coincidentally appearing at locations where the couple has planned dates. Restaurant staff at Al Giardino report that Luna requested detailed information about Will's regular dining schedule, claiming she wanted to surprise an old friend. Will's discomfort with Luna's advances is palpable, with friends noting his increased anxiety and tendency to check over his shoulder in public spaces. He literally jumped when his phone rang during lunch yesterday, reports a classmate from his business program. He's constantly on edge. The triangle has created a pressure cooker atmosphere that threatens to explode into something far more dangerous than typical relationship drama. With Electra now physically confronting Luna and Will caught in the middle, the stage is set for a potentially catastrophic outcome that could forever change all three young lives. Next, we will learn about the troubling psychological patterns emerging in one of The Bold and the Beautiful's most iconic characters and how years of unhealthy attachment are finally coming to a devastating head. The reality check. Brooke's self-destructive patterns. The soap opera landscape has witnessed countless tumultuous relationships over the decades, but few have been as psychologically complex and ultimately damaging as Brooke Logan's obsession with Ridge Forrester. What began as a passionate love affair has morphed into something far more concerning, a psychological dependency that has warped Brooke's sense of self-worth and identity. Imagine the supposed love of your life running to your rival's bed, and you're still begging, telling him you'll overlook it. Brooke has convinced herself of a fairy tale version of their relationship, noted prominent fan psychologist Dr. Marianne Winters in her popular soap analysis blog. This observation cuts to the heart of what many viewers have been feeling: discomfort watching a once strong character reduced to perpetual supplication. The pattern has become increasingly disturbing to modern audiences who have evolved alongside changing social norms about healthy relationships. As one particularly insightful viewer commented, "In real life, so many women are choosing to love and respect themselves and not tolerate abusive men and abusive relationships." Let's see this real-world shift reflected in the storytelling. This disconnect between contemporary values and Brooke's behavior has created a growing sense of cognitive dissonance among the fan base. Many longtime viewers who once rooted for Ridge now find themselves cringing during scenes where Brooke pursues Ridge with increasing desperation. The writers seem trapped in a narrative loop from the 1990s, unable to evolve Brooke's character in ways that reflect modern understandings of healthy attachment and self-respect. Former relationship counselor and B&B superfan Teresa Martinez explains, "What we're witnessing isn't romance. It's a textbook case of anxious attachment style taken to harmful extremes." Brooke displays all the classic signs: fear of abandonment, emotional dysregulation when Ridge withdraws, and a willingness to sacrifice her dignity and relationships to maintain proximity to him. The critical response: fans speak out. The viewer response to Brooke's recent behavior has been overwhelmingly negative, with social media platforms flooded with expressions of frustration and disappointment. This reaction represents a significant shift from earlier years when the Brooke-Ridge saga was considered the show's central romance. Watching Brooke beg and plead for Ridge's love was even more horrific to watch this time around, wrote one longtime viewer on a popular soap opera forum. This sentiment was echoed across platforms, with many fans expressing that they've reached their breaking point with the storyline. The criticism extends beyond mere plot fatigue. It reflects a deeper concern about the messages being sent to viewers about relationships and self-worth. In an era of increased awareness about emotional abuse and relationship dynamics, Brooke's behavior strikes many as problematic rather than romantic. Industry analysts have noted that this disconnect could potentially impact viewership demographics. Younger viewers in particular are rejecting these outdated relationship models, explains media analyst Jordan Chen. They've grown up with different messages about healthy relationships and are less likely to romanticize the kind of dynamic we see between Brooke and Ridge. The production team appears caught between catering to longtime viewers who may expect certain character dynamics and attracting newer audiences who find these same dynamics troubling. This tension has created what some industry insiders call a narrative identity crisis for the show. Many characters on this show confuse passionate sex for love, another critic pointed out, highlighting how the writing often fails to distinguish between physical chemistry and genuine emotional connection. Brooke's delusional about her relationship with Ridge. This observation gets to the heart of the issue. The show continues to present intense physical attraction as sufficient justification for toxic relationship patterns. The psychological analysis: obsession versus love. Mental health professionals who follow the show have increasingly voiced concerns about how Brooke's behavior is portrayed. What the writers frame as undying love displays many hallmarks of unhealthy obsession and codependency. What we're seeing isn't love, it's a psychological fixation, explains fictional psychiatrist Dr. Eleanor Reeves. Brooke exhibits classic signs of limerence, a state of involuntary obsessive attachment that's often mistaken for love, but lacks the mutual respect and healthy boundaries that characterize genuine loving relationships. The distinction between love and obsession is crucial to understanding why Brooke's character arc has become so troubling. Love involves seeing and accepting a person as they truly are, while obsession projects fantasies onto the object of desire. Brooke consistently ignores Ridge's actual behavior in favor of clinging to an idealized version of him and their relationship. This pattern has been evident throughout their decades-long history. Ridge has repeatedly chosen other women, treated Brooke with disrespect, and demonstrated that he values his own desires above her emotional well-being. Yet Brooke continues to pursue him with an intensity that suggests pathological attachment rather than healthy love. Her behavior meets many criteria for what we would clinically describe as an anxious, preoccupied attachment style taken to extreme levels, notes relationship therapist Dr. Marcus Wong. She displays excessive need for approval, difficulty functioning independently, and a willingness to tolerate mistreatment to maintain the relationship. The most concerning aspect is how this fixation has become Brooke's defining characteristic, eclipsing all other aspects of her personality and potential storylines. What began as one facet of a complex character has consumed her entire identity, leaving little room for growth or development in other directions. The collateral damage: Brooke's children. Perhaps the most heartbreaking consequence of Brooke's Ridge obsession has been its devastating impact on her relationships with her children. The recent confrontation with Hope laid bare decades of accumulated resentment and pain resulting from Brooke's emotional neglect. Annika Noelle delivered a truly outstanding performance as Hope finally verbalized the lifetime of rejection she's experienced. The raw emotion displayed wasn't just compelling drama, it represented the inevitable outcome of a mother consistently prioritizing a volatile romantic relationship over her children's emotional needs. All of Brooke's children bear the scars and wounds of her single-minded focus on Ridge, notes family therapist Dr. Sophia Patel. The pattern we're seeing with Hope is consistent with what psychology tells us about children of parents with anxious attachment styles. They often develop their own attachment insecurities and struggle with feelings of abandonment. This pattern extends beyond Hope. Rick's troubled history, including the shocking moment when his anger and pain drove him to shoot and nearly kill Ridge, speaks volumes about the intergenerational trauma created by Brooke's relationship choices. The fact that most of Brooke's children have moved far away from Los Angeles is telling. Geographical distance often reflects emotional distance. When adult children create significant physical separation from a parent, it's frequently a protective mechanism, explains family systems therapist Dr. James Wilson. They're creating boundaries that weren't respected during their formative years. The recent episode where Brooke projected her anger with Ridge onto Hope represented a new low that shocked even veteran viewers. This moment crystallized decades of dysfunctional family dynamics, showing how Brooke's inability to process her feelings about Ridge in healthy ways continues to spill over onto her children. Brooke cannot see or understand the countless ways she's emotionally abused and neglected her children, observes child development specialist Dr. Leela Ahmadi. This blindness is characteristic of parents whose own attachment needs are so overwhelming that they're unable to attune to their children's emotional needs. The character assassination. What happened to Brooke Logan? Longtime viewers remember when Brooke Logan was a multi-dimensional character with ambition, intelligence, and agency. She was a chemist who developed the revolutionary Belief formula, a businesswoman who could go toe-to-toe with Stephanie Forrester, and a woman capable of standing on her own. The gradual erosion of these character traits in favor of an all-consuming fixation on Ridge represents what many fans consider character assassination, the systematic dismantling of what once made Brooke compelling and relatable. The writers have reduced a once complex woman to a one-note character defined solely by her desperate pursuit of a man who has repeatedly demonstrated he doesn't value her, laments television critic Alexandra Winters. It's a disservice not only to the character, but to the actress who portrays her. Catherine Kelly Lang has brought nuance and depth to Brooke Logan for decades, but even the most talented performer can only work with the material they're given. The writing has increasingly painted Brooke into a corner, limiting her potential for growth or meaningful character development. She isn't in love with Ridge, she has a psychological fixation, notes cultural commentator Dr. Rafael Jimenez. The distinction matters because it frames how viewers interpret her behavior. What might be romantic in the context of genuine love becomes disturbing when recognized as obsession. The path forward, potential for redemption. Despite the current troubling trajectory, many fans and critics believe there's still potential for Brooke's character to be redeemed through thoughtful writing that acknowledges the problematic patterns while charting a path toward healing and growth. What Brooke needs isn't another chance with Ridge. It's professional help to address the underlying attachment issues driving her behavior, suggests fictional therapist Dr. Vanessa Chen. A storyline focusing on Brooke's journey towards self-awareness and healing could be powerful and resonant for viewers. Such a storyline would require the writers to take a more psychologically nuanced approach, acknowledging that what they've portrayed as romance has actually been unhealthy obsession. It would mean allowing Brooke to face the consequences of her choices, particularly regarding her children, and begin the difficult work of making amends. Imagine a storyline where Brooke finally recognizes the pattern, perhaps with the help of therapy, and begins to rebuild her sense of self separate from Ridge, proposes television writer Maria Gonzalez. It could include reconnecting with her professional identity, rebuilding relationships with her children, and eventually finding a healthier romantic relationship or choosing to be happily single. This approach would honor the character's history while allowing for evolution in line with contemporary understandings of psychological health and relationships. It would also provide Catherine Kelly Lang with rich, complex material worthy of her considerable talents. The Bold and the Beautiful has an opportunity to transform what has become a troubling character trajectory into a powerful story about healing and growth. By acknowledging Brooke's sick infatuation as the problem rather than continuing to romanticize it, the show could create a redemption arc that resonates with modern audiences while respecting the character's legacy. As viewers continue to express their frustration with Brooke's current storyline, the question remains whether the writers will listen and chart a new course for this iconic character, one that honors her complexity while allowing her to finally break free from the destructive patterns that have defined her for too long. Stay tuned to B&B Spoilers channel for more in-depth analysis as this storyline continues to unfold.